It was a stormy Sunday morning, and a desperate crowd filled the massive hall of Holy Ground Ministries. Whispers rippled through the congregation as they craned their necks, eager to catch sight of Prophetess Adisa, popularly known as Mama Sees It All. Some swore she could pierce straight into a person's soul, revealing secrets no one could ever know. Others believed she spoke directly to the heavens. But that morning, an unsettling air clung to the room. Suddenly, a scream echoed from the side of the hall. Agatha, one of Mama's trusted aides, rushed to the front, wide-eyed and trembling. She did it again. Mama healed a crippled man. The congregation erupted in cheers. Among them was Elizabeth, a quiet and observant attendee. She had seen this crippling man walking unassisted in the market days prior. Doubt clawed at her heart, but she held her tongue. Who would believe her? Mama Sees It All was untouchable, revered by her followers. But something about this moment planted a seed of suspicion in Elizabeth's heart, one that would grow with time. Years ago, Adisa had been a simple girl from a humble, God-fearing family. Raised to be honest and devoted, she was the pride of her community. She led Sunday school, organized prayer meetings, and sang angelically in the choir. Many believed she was destined for greatness. But greatness came at a cost. Struggling to build her ministry, Adisa attended a grand conference for pastors. There, she met influential leaders, including the enigmatic Pastor Baal. "You are trying to be godly," he told her, "but true power requires sacrifice." Intrigued and desperate for success, Adisa listened as Pastor Baal spoke of a special ceremony. It required a significant offering. At first, she hesitated. But when he promised her undeniable influence, she agreed. That night, she made a grave sacrifice, unknowingly stepping into a dark covenant. From that moment, Adisa's life changed. Her ministry flourished as people flocked to her services, drawn by her newfound charisma and supposed miracles. She became Mama Sees It All, a beacon of hope for the desperate and downtrodden. But beneath the surface, something sinister stirred. Every midnight, Adisa would vanish from her luxurious mansion, shedding her human form to reveal her true nature. She was a hybrid, a half-human, half-serpent bound to an underwater covenant. Slipping silently into the river behind her mansion, she would join her occult brethren in the marine kingdom. There, she drew her powers from the fearsome marine queen, who bestowed her with visions and abilities at a heavy cost. Mama Sees It All's church grew rapidly. She introduced strange practices to keep her congregation in awe. Members were given mirrors of life, small handheld mirrors she claimed were blessed by the Almighty. "Look into it every morning," she instructed, "and you will see the parts of your spirit that need healing." In reality, these mirrors were tools connected to the marine world, allowing Adisa to spy on her followers' secrets. One Sunday, she called a young woman named Kemi to the front. "Last night, you argued with your husband about his job," Mama said. Kemi gasped, confirming the revelation. The congregation was amazed, oblivious to the sinister source of Mama's knowledge. With her growing fame came immense wealth. Mama introduced holy water and miracle oil, claiming they could cure illnesses, fix marriages, and bring financial blessings. These items were sold at exorbitant prices. Struggling members gave their last savings, hoping for divine intervention. One Sunday, a young man named Obiora attended the service. Freshly returned from overseas, he sought Mama's blessings. She called him forward and warned of a life battery running low. "If nothing is done," she declared gravely, "you won't live to see your 30s. Terrified, Obiora agreed to make a hefty sacrifice, unaware that his donation would fund Mama's mansion rather than save his soul. Elizabeth watched these events unfold with growing unease. She began collecting evidence of Mama's deception, documenting the staged healings and fabricated prophecies. But the more she uncovered, the more dangerous her mission became. One night, she overheard Mama's aides discussing the miracle water scam. "Can you believe they are paying so much for a dash of salt and sugar?" one aide laughed. Elizabeth's resolve hardened. She had to expose the truth, even if it meant putting herself at risk. Driven by curiosity, Elizabeth decided to follow Mama one fateful night. She hid near the river behind Mama's mansion, clutching her phone. At midnight, she saw Adisa emerge, chanting in a strange language. Before Elizabeth's eyes, Mama's body transformed, her skin shimmering as scales appeared. With a final glance at the sky, Mama slid into the water and disappeared. Elizabeth was horrified. This was no ordinary fraud. Mama sees it all was a creature of darkness, bound to a world most could never imagine. Elizabeth knew her mission had taken on a new and dangerous dimension. The next morning, Elizabeth returned to church, determined but terrified. Mama's piercing gaze lingered on her during the service. "Elizabeth," Mama called, her voice smooth and commanding. "The Lord has shown me you carry a heavy burden. Come, let Mama lift it from you." Elizabeth stepped forward, feigning obedience. Mama placed a cold hand on her forehead and whispered, "You are treading dangerous waters, my child. Be careful." Elizabeth's heart raced, but she refused to back down. She knew the stakes were higher than ever, but her mission was clear: expose the darkness and free the innocent. Elizabeth couldn't shake Mama's chilling words. Every corner of the massive city seemed to whisper her name. She became hyper-aware of her surroundings, noticing shadowy figures lurking near her apartment and strangers who seemed to follow her from the market. The realization hit her hard. Mama sees it all knew she was watching. To keep her investigation going, Elizabeth turned to her childhood friend, Samuel, a tech-savvy journalist known for his tenacity. When she shared what she'd witnessed, Samuel was skeptical but intrigued. "If what you're saying is true, then this isn't just fraud, it's something darker," he said. Together, they decided to document everything meticulously. Samuel equipped Elizabeth with hidden cameras, and the two devised a plan to infiltrate Mama's inner circle. But they knew this would require more than just technology. It would demand courage, as Mama's influence extended far beyond the pulpit. While Elizabeth infiltrated the church, Samuel dove into research, unearthing unsettling details about Mama Sizitor's rise to power. He discovered accounts of people who had mysteriously disappeared after questioning her practices. Old newspaper clippings revealed a series of unexplained drownings near the river behind Mama's mansion, dating back to when she first moved in. Digging deeper, Samuel uncovered a cryptic network of financial transactions linked to offshore accounts. These accounts funneled enormous sums of money, donations from unsuspecting church members, to a shell company owned by a mysterious entity. The more Samuel uncovered, the more he realized Mama wasn't acting alone. Armed with this evidence, Samuel urged Elizabeth to proceed with caution. "This is bigger than her," he warned. "There's a web of power protecting her." Elizabeth knew the only way to expose Mama was to get closer to her. She volunteered for every church activity, gaining the trust of Mama's aides. Her dedication caught Mama's attention. One evening, she was invited to a private meeting in the prophetess's opulent mansion. The mansion was a labyrinth of luxury, adorned with golden statues and eerie portraits that seemed to follow Elizabeth's every move. Mama welcomed her warmly, offering tea and asking probing questions about her life. "You have a spirit of determination," Mama said, her eyes narrowing. "I see greatness in your future." Elizabeth feigned gratitude, masking her unease. She could feel the weight of the Marine Queen's influence in the air, a suffocating presence that seemed to watch her every move. When the meeting ended, Mama handed her a small mirror. "Keep this with you," she said. "It will guide your path." Elizabeth accepted the mirror, knowing it was more than a gift, it was a tool of surveillance. She slipped it into her bag, determined to find a way to neutralize its power. That night, Elizabeth placed the mirror on her table and stared at it, unsure of what to do. As midnight approached, the surface of the mirror began to ripple, like water disturbed by an unseen force. A voice, faint but insistent, whispered her name. She gasped and covered it with a cloth, but the voice continued, warning her to stop her investigation. Terrified, Elizabeth called Samuel. "It's not just about her powers," she whispered. "This thing, it's alive." Samuel calmed her down, suggesting they take the mirror to a spiritual guide for help. The next day, they visited Baba Ife, a respected elder known for his wisdom and knowledge of spiritual matters. Baba Ife examined the mirror, his face growing grim. "This is no ordinary object," he said. "It is a link to the marine world. Destroying it will not be easy, but it must be done." As Elizabeth and Samuel prepared to destroy the mirror, strange events began to occur. Elizabeth's dreams were plagued by images of a woman with glowing eyes, draped in jewels, her voice echoing with rage. One night, her apartment flooded inexplicably, water pouring from the walls and ceiling despite clear skies outside. Samuel's equipment malfunctioned, files corrupted beyond recovery. He received anonymous threats, warning him to abandon the investigation. The Marine Queen's wrath was real, and her reach extended into their world. Despite the mounting pressure, Elizabeth and Samuel pressed on, determined to dismantle the empire built on fear and lies. They knew the fight ahead would test their limits, but they were prepared to risk everything for the truth.